Hey everyone, it's Aisha Love, founder of Multidimensional You. It's been a minute. I have taken off some time this summer to go through a lot of transformation and higher love alchemy and a big transition and full spiral back to the Rocky Mountain West. This is Mount Bora in Idaho, one of my favorite places to come and do field work. On the drive up here, I ended up elevating the Snake River Plain as part of my field work, doing re-encryption and recoding, all part of this amazing fail-safe ascension of restoration, reconnection that we happen to be in this part of the multiverse of living creation. So multidimensional field agency is my jam, and you can tell that when I get to combine it with being in the outdoors and hiking. Awesome. A spray pack for me today. 22 years ago, I drove myself, I think, was I 26? Yeah, I think it was 25? 25. From Texas all the way up to Idaho, Challis, Idaho, for a field job with the Bureau of Land Management, USDI, Department of Interior. And I got to hike all summer and smell the sagebrush. And I was doing vegetation surveys with a team. There were 4 young people. It was just a blast of a summer. Really, really fun. So here I am 22 years later, full spiral, drove all the way from, well, I was in Texas right before I left Oklahoma and drove from Oklahoma all the way back here. So I have officially relocated. For how long, I have no idea. And that is what wants to be spoken to today, is the full spiral. Everything that we are closing out in terms of like life cycles and explorations and chapters and new beginnings, and that there is not a manual for this kind of operating system that we are shifting over into, meaning it is not one where we get the full itinerary, the agenda, the schedule, the play-by-play. Nope. The purpose of this vlog and video today is very much to encourage all of us, myself included. I'm going to be giving myself a pep talk because I've been walking this and living it for quite a few years now, and many of you who followed me here know that, including walking away from being public facing for a while, a big retreat in North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains a couple of years ago. The field work continued at pace. Actually, it accelerated. So I was flying around the planet doing work despite taking a step back from public view as I kind of reformatted and reconfigured my identity construct yet again to a more expansive, comprehensive whole of the source self, where there really is no separation anymore. And so here's the helpful information that's really wanting to come through. We are shifting our operating system into something that feels much more like what was that? There was like a whisper that somebody was trying to tell you something, and you have to kind of like turn the volume down on the car radio. You have to turn the volume down on your own internal thoughts and say, now, what was that? What was that prompt? What was that breadcrumb? What did I just hear my heart say that, oh, wow. And even if it might not be convenient, you've heard me talk about this for years. It's like, oh, it's time to leave that situation or deconstruct this construct. Not terribly convenient for the human ego that's built, a whole identity based on a set of old constructs. Many of you have navigated that. For those of you just beginning, my heart goes out to you. I'm going to send you a lot of love right now. Yeah, you got this. It's not easy, I know. Part of the journey, it's not all rainbows and butterflies and magical synchronicities, which is super fun part of the journey. It's not this part, doing energy transfer for, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna just clear some stuff for those of you really embarking. Actually, being shown many of us are doing the next level of this, almost like another order of magnitude of deconstruction. So take a deep breath with me. And on the exhale, there you go. I'm going to work with your field. There we go. Just let it all go. A lot of clearing in the lower back, which makes sense because it's this type of changeover is really going to challenge our sense of security, because we were programmed to feel safe and secure based on external constructs. And this next order of deconstruction and changeover in our operating system is predicated on you are building a new internal foundation, right? I used to say, took everything down to the studs, and then it was like, whoa, we took out the foundation and we're putting in a new foundation, because in this time of amplified, accelerated ascension, I have seen the ascension schedule for the next 12 months and it is accelerated, okay? We have a lot of gates opening, a lot of the work that I am positioned to do to help minimize the wobble. So think of like if there's a wobble in a car or on tires and you go really fast, that's gonna amplify, and the whole thing's just gonna come apart. So a lot of what we're all doing right now is cleaning things out and rebalancing and reharmonizing so that as everything speeds up in terms of, you know, base particle electron spin, that's what creates interdimensionality. Those of you in the higher love family know what I'm talking about, because the activation for August was a quarter turn of particle rotation spin to be able to stay in sync with this rapidly shifting kind of the dimensional blend that we're in. I'm going to get to something in a minute that is really helpful as a tip, but I'm being refocused to just speak to this and give you a little bit more love. Like, you're seen here. I know what you're going through, even if nobody else gets it. Yeah, there you go. That's very healing for many of you. Take another deep breath. And by the way, nobody's getting a pass during this time. So even if people are pretending like everything's fine, there's just so much internally shifting right now. For many of us, new soul agreements and contracts have initiated. The extent to which you have been prepared for that and listening to that or ignoring it is going to determine kind of the experience you have, like how much grace there is. That's not to say that if you've been resisting it, ignoring it, or just being like, I don't know what to do with that and ignoring it, that you can't still have grace. The grace will come. I'm talking to myself now too. When you do full body surrender. So try that. Like take all the tension, the jaw, the brow, the eyes, soften the gaze, relax your tummy. Just let the whole body move into surrender and out of resistance. It's the resistance that creates the friction that blocks the grace during this time of deconstruction of another order of magnitude. That phrase wants to keep being spoken, because I hear right now that for many, the resistance is coming in this kind of narrative. But I already did the work. I've already done the work. Why am I back here? Why am I back here? Right? You're not back anywhere. This is a spiral, right? I'm not back in Idaho. I'm in a totally different dimensional embodiment. I am not the same being that arrived here 22 years ago or was even here at Mount Bora. You know, you've watched me. If you've watched me, you've seen I've posted photos and videos of Mount Bora for quite a while. Not the same being even 4 years ago. There's a radical shift afoot. So watch the narrative that's in resistance saying, but I've already done this. I shouldn't have to do anymore. Oh, if only. I think of the soul, over soul, and beyond, right? The monadic and beyond these structures that we are, levels. We signed up for some epic shit during this time. And so we can flip the script and just be really grateful and excited. We get to do this. We get to make good on these agreements now. So resistance is futile anyway. So how much grace can we allow by releasing the resistance in the full body complex here, right? So use all your tools. I'm fond of dancing these days, being out here like this. Nobody else out here with me. Which brings me to my next point. So right before we left Oklahoma, my daughter and I were at a resort called Shangri-La, of course. And we were shown that so much of what we experience in terms of an ascension time frame is, it's not about like, you know, being beamed off planet as much as it is about, do you want to hang out down on the second and third floors, or do you want to go up to the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th? And so we were being guided to play around with that, and especially as we made this drive cross country. And in a resort full of people, we were out at the big pool complex in those high floor altitudes, and there was no one else at the pool in a resort full of people. It's this type of thing. You'll find that there aren't many people that share the same dimensional space with you. So while much of what physical reality appears to be will, like the set will remain the same, but it's almost like there are many different dimensional and subdimensional sets. And depending on where a person's electron, the rotational particle spin and where they're at determines who is in that same vicinity. And so it came as no surprise to me, because I've had this experience other times, but it was quite striking to be in a very popular destination. It's a destination for, I think, people in Kansas City, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Not one other person. There's somebody talking over there. It's either a cow or one of my Sasquatch friends. So the guidance is, it's not to just, hang out there alone. It's we're basically walking into these spaces first, holding that kind of vibronic, right? That's based in higher love, harmony, and other people will eventually find their way there. This is where things there's flow, there's grace, there's ease, there's incredible synchronicity, there's massive synchronicity afoot in my world right now in this beautiful simulation, organic living creation simulation. It's not just a video game, it's very sacred. And that is a huge piece of what I do in the field, is restore evolutionary pathways and the living architecture of living creation, so that many, many beings, not just humanity at this point, can find their way home into a higher harmonic of the love they always were but forgot because they're in an extreme separation experience and a lot of polarity drama. All valid in the all it is, but there's I feel like it's sweeps week and everything's getting called home at this point. Okay, so back to what wants to be presenced is this time we will not be able to see 12 steps ahead, barely one step, if that. There is the present moment. You've heard me talk about the kaleidoscope. So I work with geometries and the base code that informs reality. So your current emanation projects the set of codes or instructions. Rather than a linear progression of making incremental change, we're in a time now where we can work with our code, that base code, and just like a kaleidoscope shifts and then the geometries are all different, from one moment to the next, you are in a different emanation completely. And so that's wanting to be presenced again, that when we say twists and turns, what we're really inviting ourselves into is to exit a very mechanical and linear experience of reality and to become much more creative at our soul over soul and beyond level. Higher love family, we work at the monadic 7D level to shift the reality experience, the physical, dense physical reality experience that we are having, because it is hyper malleable, especially during this time. And that a lot of these, I'm being shown now, like these minor shifts and adjustments and almost like tweaks to our code, to our emanation, will afford us an experience of, it's almost like I'm being shown gathering up all of the different files and touch points, data points, if you will, that we were really intent on collecting as part of this journey, this walk here. So don't be afraid to shift your kaleidoscope, to do some twists and turns, to do some pivots, you'll always hear me say it, follow your heart, follow your highest excitement. Don't get pulled into the polarity drama. Let go of limiting ideas or beliefs. Let go of attachment to what you thought you wanted to do or were supposed to do, and be open. So the highlight is on the word open. Open field, open heart, open mind, versus closed, contracted, white knuckling, clinging on. Because what I'm being shown, the extent to which we do that is the extent to which our kaleidoscope shifts and we end up living the life that we really set out to, in service, in enjoyment and pleasure, right? Pleasure for pleasure's sake. What? That, and in the higher love vibratic of joy. So ironically, paradoxically, letting go of attachment will get you there faster. I don't know what else to say. It's like mic drop. And if you needed any incentive, I'm sure you can feel the joy just radiating off me. when I got the prompt to make this return, full spiral, to Idaho, I won't lie, there was some resistance, especially the way certain things were being set up. But I have enough experience at this point that I don't want to do things the hard way. So I really listened carefully to my guidance. Don't need the spiritual 2x4 anymore. And I also appreciate the extent to which I'm working on rebalancing myself, right? So if we've been overdoing, then it's being overgiving, time to receive. And so I definitely had to navigate some resistance. I definitely put it off for a while. But of course, as things go, everything gets lined up perfectly in divine alignment. And so there were a lot of twists and turns in the last few weeks for me. And I ended up actually leaving 10 days earlier than I thought I would, although I kind of knew that was likely. That happened with the move from North Carolina to Oklahoma too. So that's what I got for you this week. Just sharing the joy, sharing the love, sharing the full spiral, encouraging you all. Next order of magnitude of shifts are on. New agreements that we only dared to hope we could actually make good on are now, have now initiated. I was going to say initiating, and they're like, I hear, have initiated. Have initiated. Go. Right? And again, just to summarize and recap, the extent to which we can relax our bodies and open up, surrender. Here comes the grace. My dad is always telling me, it's going to get really good. So really enjoy yourself right now. Don't wait to enjoy yourself. And that's the hack, right? Because by placing ourselves in joy, we get there faster because we're in a different vibronic. Poof. Like magic. All right, I'm going to go see what's up, get this field work done, and then head back down the mountain. I love you all so much. Please do leave a comment and share, what are you going through? How does this resonate? How did this help you? And maybe you have your own insight on this particular amazing, magical time in Earth's and this quarter of the multiverse's history. All right, I love you.